NBs, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an exciting speedrun race here at Indiethon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is GhostieBoy97, your friendly neighborhood shade and co-commentator for this race. And I'm joined by the man no Hades world record is safe from, the Titan toppler himself, Kroven. How are you doing today, bud?
I am doing wonderful. How are you today, Ghosty?
I am fantastic and beyond excited for the race we have for y'all today. Both runners have been grinding and practicing for weeks leading up to this, and I can't wait to see what they have to display. On the right side of your screen, with personal bests clocking in at 12 minutes 4 seconds real time and 5 minutes 9 seconds in-game time, we have the former unmodded RTA world record and rail champion of the world, Wmic. Wmic, how's your race prep been?
Hey everyone, I've been super excited to be in this race, really. The prep has been good. Yeah.
Awesome to hear. And on the left side of your screen, with a personal best of 11 minutes 55 seconds RTA, and one of the only runners to sub 5 in-game time with a 4 minute 48 second run, we have the Beowulf Pro, Big P the GOAT. Big P, any words for your competitor before we get this race started?
Dude, I'm gonna destroy Wmic.
That's the competitive spirit we love to see. Alright. With the schedule counting down and us ready to rock, runners, if you want to check your mirrors, make sure your starting weapons are locked in and approach the pact. We'll get this race underway shortly and get this clown car rolling.
Clown car?
Hell yeah, let's go.
Alright, both runners ready?
Yep.
Perfect. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And they're off.
The runners are off. So, to any of you who might not be familiar with this game or haven't seen it yet, in Hades, you are Zagreus, the son of Hades, the god of the dead. And you don't really like your dad at all. He's kind of a bad dad. So you want to escape the underworld and see what Olympus and the rest of the world has to offer. So the goal in this game is just to fight through the various levels of the underworld, try to reach the surface, and escape. And to do this, Zagreus has 6 different weapons at his disposal, and in this race, we'll be using 3 of them to escape 3 runs in succession. The first weapon we have is the heart-seeking bow, Koronach, and each weapon has 4 what we call aspects to kind of give them a little bit of a unique flair. So the first one we're starting off with is the Hera bow, and the Hera bow is kind of unique in that it lets Zagreus shoot arrows, of course, but in those arrows, Zagreus can launch one of his special abilities called a cast. And that's the pink blast you guys are seeing coming out of Zagreus' arrows hitting the enemies. The cast is a very powerful weapon, and you can load like multiple of them in a single arrow to get some really big burst damage. So you can just kind of see all these enemies blowing up on both sides of the screen. And Hera's really good at single target damage, but can struggle with AoE, which runners will be trying to pick up in the form of some boons that can add that later on.
In the time it took us to explain how the game works, both runners are almost done with the first biome of the first run. We'll see, you may have seen earlier, Big P on the left entering a Chaos Gate, entering this weird purple Underdark area where they picked up a high-risk penalty for a few chambers that turns into a very powerful reward. Rooms like that are what we call free rooms, and as speedrunners, we like not playing the game instead of playing the game. One of the core RNG elements of Hades as a roguelite is trying to finding any of those free rooms to get through these early chambers as quick as possible and pick up extra bonuses are massively helpful. You'll also see these exclamation points on doors occasionally, called story rooms, where you see various characters from Hades, from Greco-Roman mythology pop up. We won't spoil too much of the game, but of course you will be seeing the ending 3 times in a row, so spoilers ahead. And there are also occasionally fountain chambers, which just give you an extra bit of health as well as a random reward. We see on the left side of the screen, Big P's already entering the first boss, Megara the Fury. Her and her sisters, Tisiphone and Alecto, try to stop you from leaving Tartarus, but unfortunately, when you're a speedrunner, you know how to immediately delete them with a single salvo cast. Big P with a nice sub 3 minute split coming out of Tartarus. That is a very, very fast pace, even at the top level of Hades speedrunning.
Yes, and you can kind of see how strong Hera can be. Like each phase of Megara, even on Wmic screen right now, is just kind of getting instantly deleted, and the boss fight kind of takes no time whatsoever. So, as you mentioned earlier, this run has a few different pieces to it. As Zagreus escapes Tartarus by fighting Megara the Fury, he goes into the second biome, as we call it, Asphodel. And Asphodel has kind of been overrun with lava, so there's literally the floor is lava. And Zagreus has to watch out to make sure he doesn't burn. So we have to fight through a few more chambers of Asphodel before we get to the boss of Asphodel as well. And one thing that Hades lets you do is the keepsake mechanic lets you sort of control how your build develops. So both runners, I believe, seem to have taken the Demeter keepsake into Asphodel, which means, or actually, Big P took the Demeter keepsake. Yes,
Yeah.
so that means
a little bit of an interesting divergence. Yeah,
definitely. That means that the next boon that Big P will see will come from Demeter, and he's going to be looking for specifically a boon called Snowburst, which gives a nice damage and AoE around Zagreus when you load a cast into the arrow, kind of helping solve the AoE problem of Hera we talked about earlier. Wmic, on the other hand, has chosen for Artemis's keepsake, looking to put a powerful boon on his attack to help the crit rate deal a lot more damage on his attack, which can really scale up later on in the run. So a couple different
fortunately
ways...
not finding it, though. Having to... one other interesting mechanic here we see is you'll sometimes see the runners refresh the boon screen when it appears. One of the roguelite elements is various mirror upgrades you can get throughout the game that make getting these builds easier to put together. Unfortunately, in real-time settings, rolls take time. So sometimes you'll just settle for whatever boon comes up, and even though it's not the massive crit damage you want on your attack, support fire, well, it at least looks pretty and doesn't hurt you. Both runners finding a free room as well simultaneously. Big P managing to keep his chamber lead here with the fountain in 22, while Wmic finds a chamber 21 chaos and settles for not the greatest cast weapon buff here off of chaos, but a bit of damage into undamaged enemies does help.
Like we said earlier, sometimes you just got to take what you get and roll with it. You can't always spend time getting the perfect boons in real-time runs. It's kind of a constant risk management of, is this boon important enough to spend a second rolling for it, or do you just take what's on the screen and keep going? And as we discussed that, Big P is entering the second boss as Wmic is just about to enter it as well. The second boss in this run, the boss of Asphodel, is the Lernaean Bone Hydra, or as Zagreus affectionately calls her, Lerny. And for those who have played this game before a little bit, this Lerny arena may look different to you, and this is one of the special settings that speedrunners try to use. The game allows you to put on difficulty settings called like the Pact of Punishment to make runs more difficult, and normally you wouldn't think you want that in a speedrun setting, but in this case it makes the Lerny arena a lot smaller and compact, which means it can be a lot more difficult to dodge damage, as there's a lot of attacks hitting you from very close. But it also means that you can travel across the arena and kill the side heads much quicker than a normal arena. So, extreme measures 2, as it's called, to increase the difficulty of the Lerny fight is often taken to maximize speed in this fight.
Ooh, and we see Wmic taking the first death defiance of the run. You get 3 free ones of those throughout the run, where you it's effectively a half-life, where you come back with 50% HP. Runners commonly take 1 DD in the Lerny fight, affectionately known as the Lerny tax. Because of how much lava there is, it's pretty common. However, you'll notice we are running a slightly modified version of Hades. Almost all the changes that are made are quality of life changes. Hades is a roguelite, which means that depending on your luck, things can change on a whim. If one runner gets a full build and one runner doesn't, that doesn't really make for an exciting event. So we are running and actually debuting a new hyper-modded pack here to minimize as many RNG pain points as possible and let these runners play as fast as possible. The only actual modification to the game, you'll notice that little infinity symbol in the bottom left. That's our infinite DD, commonly known as the penalty box. That one always refreshes, but when that happens, a 30-second timer counts down as the game is frozen, and you just have to sit there and live with your mistakes. We added that in so that runners, if they die more than 3 times, they aren't completely punished and immediately lose, but it is a significant time loss, especially when runs average on this mod pack around 12 minutes to 12 minutes 30 in RTA.
A 30-second penalty box can be a huge deficit, so you definitely don't want to hit that. So one thing you might have seen in this run so far is that this, if you played the game before, this bow may not look like it's shooting like the normal bow. And that's due to some of the upgrades in the run called the dataless hammers. The hammers of each weapon kind of change how it functions and can add a new flair to how your weapon feels and plays. And they can be pretty overpowering in terms of which hammers are good and which aren't. So in one of the hypermodded changes is that we have let runners choose which hammer to get. And you get 2 per run, usually 1 in Tartarus, 1 in Elysium. It appears both runners are running the same hammer combo, Flurry Shot plus Twin Shot. Flurry Shot lets you shoot an arrow kind of instantaneously without having to charge it up. It is a little bit less damage than the normal arrow, but the speed of which you get your shots out, get the casts out into the enemy, is just very, very worth it. And Twin Shot lets you shoot 2 arrows side by side for double attack damage, but for a little bit of reduced range. And the reduced range isn't as impactful, and the double damage is very strong. So, as I was talking about that, it appears that Big P has taken a bit of a couple chamber lead and is going into the heroes fight, the champions of Elysium. Theseus and the Minotaur Asterius have decided to come together in death to stop you from escaping from Elysium.
Or, well, try to stop you.
Try.
The heroes have been vanquished, and Big P's moving on to the 4th and, well, I suppose final biome. Dad Fight's its own deal. We'll get there when we get there. Entering the final biome, Styx. Styx is guarded by our wonderful, fluffy, 3-headed companion, Cerberus. No, we do not hurt the dog. We, in fact, can pet the dog later. But instead, to get past him, we have to bribe him a little bit. Entering the tunnels of Styx here, there are 5 paths you can choose from. In unmodded Hades, the sack can randomly... There's a sack of treats at the end of one of these. It will appear randomly between 2 to 5 tunnels. One of the RNG control elements is that it will always appear in 2 tunnels here. That way this biome goes through as quick as possible, and runners can finally go fight Dad.
And while Big P is finishing up there in Styx, Wmic was finishing up Heroes. And the Heroes of Elysium are kind of known to most players. It's a very difficult boss. It's often one of the biggest hurdles first-time players experience in escaping or winning a run. I know it was for me personally, partially because there are 2 distinct, independent, very difficult enemies to deal with. And a lot of weapons, especially like Hera, which have single target burst damage, can sort of struggle to deal with a boss fight this kind of spread out. But these guys have a good build, a good handle of the game. They kind of cleared through it very, very quickly. And it appears that Wmic is entering Styx as Big P found the sack and is about to exit Styx. So about a 1 biome difference right now.
Ooh, picking up some extra damage for the hyper delivery combo as well. We'll explain that in a bit as we enter the final boss of Hades. You're right, that's right. We have finished one of the 3 runs just about.
Almost done.
Dude, Hera's
Final
so
big
good.
bad.
Dude, this weapon is so good. It's actually so broken.
It's so much damage.
Wait till
The final big bad of Hades is none other than Dad himself, Hades, God of the Dead. For those of you who haven't played this fight before, there are 2 phases. Surprise. Once that health bar is depleted, it fills right back up. But with this much damage, it does not matter. Big P's already done with 2/3 of the first phase and is about to clear up the remaining ring with
Oh my god.
just a full cast.
Wait, yo, I'm kind of good at this game. Wait, hold up.
Hey, you want to slow down a bit?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Nah, sorry.
You may also see Megara occasionally pop up in some of these boss fights. That's one of the meta rewards that you get through the game. There is, of course, a visual novel aspect to this game, as with every other RPG released in the 2020s, where you can befriend various companions throughout the House of the Dead, and in doing so, some of them give you little keepsakes that you can bring through, and you can summon them into battle. Those are often used on the mini bosses. Yeah, they're often used on bosses and mini bosses to speed up those fights strategically. There's a lot of having edited the guide that explains it all, there's a lot of nuance to each single one, but learning them is super easy.
All right, and GG's Big P on the first run, getting a 12-12 Hera. A low 12 is very impressive. So now we're going to talk about the next weapon we're going to use. So both runners are running the same lineup. So after Hera, they will play the Beowulf Shield, an aspect of the shield, which is very similar to Hera, actually, in that normally the shield lets you kind of bull rush with Zagreus behind the shield for some nice defense. And on Beowulf, at the end of the bull rush, you can load your casts in, and it'll pop out in a giant explosion, like a flare, an AoE. So this Beowulf is known for its extremely high damage output, and it doesn't actually have the single target issue that Hera does, because these casts explode in such a wide area of effect. You can hit many enemies in one salvo. And similar to Hera, the hammer that changes how the weapon functions is very important here, arguably even more so on Beowulf. BIGP actually
Probably
started
one
out
of the
with
most
hammer.
important in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the strongest hammers in the game. It changes that bull rush, where Zagreus is kind of behind the shield, rushing at enemies, to a charged shot with a much higher base damage and a much faster charge-up time. So the shield kind of just becomes a nuke, which you can just load your casts in and fire across the room at will.
Do we have time for a few donations?
Absolutely. It's a good break here as we're just cruising through Tartarus. We'll bring up the next important thing when it comes up.
All right, thank you. So first off, we have a $50 donation from Perfect English with a comment saying, "Always lovely to see this wonderful community showing out for a good cause. Wmic happy," and indeed that makes me very happy as well. Those $50 go towards the save or kill the animals bid war, specifically for the save option for the Super Metroid Ascent run that is tomorrow by Lincoln Meister. And so first off, thank you so much for your donation. And we have a second $10 donation from Sleep Soul with a comment saying, "Help! I can't choose who to root for because I love you both so much."
Aw. Thank you.
Sleep's actually the homie.
Also, yeah, huge shout out to Sleep. Sleep Soul alongside Museus and Zyruvius are the community members who have put together this hyper modded pack for us that you're seeing today. This is the first official display of that mod pack, which I'm super excited about, because it'll make my weapon fist actually competitively viable. Let's go. Additionally, there's been multiple community members that have helped out with the modded development. LMNOP, Seagull, Paradigm Sword, Urumi, Magic Gonads, Pony Warrior, and Kenora. Without y'all and without the amazing community behind Hades, none of this would be possible.
Indeed, thank you so much for the donation. And this one also goes towards the save option for Save or Kill the Animals. So thank you both for your donations. Let's keep it going, everyone. You're doing amazing.
All right. I think now's before it comes up, it's a good time to talk about why Beowulf is broken, a video essay. There's these things in this game called duoboons, where all the Olympic gods are trying to help you escape the underworld and to beat Hades. Sometimes they even work together to help you escape. So if you get 2 boons from a god, for example, Poseidon and Artemis, there's a small 10% chance, I think it is, that they give you a duo boon when you pick up one of their boons if you have the correct prerequisites. The duo boon between Poseidon and Artemis is that you get a secondary cast that does about 30% damage. A little bit of extra damage on your cast. Pretty nice, right? For some reason on Beowulf, that number is completely broken. You just get a second free cast. It is 100% damage. So when you're adding up the damage from Beowulf Charge Shot, the massive AoE damage that you're getting from Poseidon cast, and you just chuck a second second cast on top of that, that is why Beowulf is one of the best weapons of the game. And we see Wmic pick it up right before Fury's boss here. I'm gonna guess this is gonna take 15 seconds.
Let's see,
Furies? That was like a 10-second Furies.
Yeah.
But the power that Beowulf has with Mirage Shot and the relative ease of which you can get it, you can generally get it in most runs. And the AoE it provides that the cast innately has, making it very easy to hit multiple enemies at once, kind of makes it a very popular aspect for most people to run, and it is currently the most popular speedrun aspect, and arguably the strongest. Beowulf is kind of a crack weapon.
You think I'll get it?
You rolling down for it?
Yeah. Oh,
Rolling,
no.
rolling,
Oh,
and
no.
swing and miss.
Oh,
All right.
no.
So As we mentioned,
So-
we try the mod pack tries to minimize these pain points. However, we do still leave them in because we want every run that is that you see in a modded pack to be theoretically viable in vanilla Hades. So sometimes you just miss your rolls on these duo boons, and this is a massive chance for Wmic to catch up with the damage.
Hell yeah, I'm taking it.
Fund that. Please take that back.
So one of the meta rewards you get in Hades, like the Death Defiance as you mentioned earlier, are a little bonus to your boons, and you can choose between more boons being having the epic rarity, generally giving a
higher
bonus to
rarity.
your damage, and just nice things in general. Or you can choose to have a higher chance of finding dual boons, but it means most other boons, like your cast or your chaos bonuses, will have lower rarity. And this kind of trade-off is something runners generally make, and I believe both runners are actually running the God's Pride, which
Instead of God's Legacy, yeah.
yes, so God's Pride is the one that increases epic chances, but does not increase duo boon chances. So it does mean that they are taking a bit of a risk, hoping to get Mirage Shot even without God's Legacy, on the upside that every other supporting boon they'll get will be much stronger than usual. And it appears that risk is working out for Wmic and not for Big P.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Trust.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. So one other interesting thing to mention here is the Hermes boons. You want to run that through, Kerbin?
Yes, so Hermes is a bit of a different god in this game. He's not one of the, what we say, core 8 on Olympus. He's kind of doing his own thing. So Hermes is kind of like the hammers in that you get 2 per run most of the time. And Hermes boons can be very, very powerful. The most notorious combo, and the one that Wmic just got, is what we call Hyper Delivery. Hyper Sprint plus Rush Delivery. Hyper Sprint is a nice boon that after you dash gives you plus 100% move speed, which is nice, lets you get the rooms faster, but it's not like game breaking. Rush Delivery, on the other hand, is a boon that gives you is game breaking. It is a boon that gives you more damage based on how much extra move speed you have. So with the 100% extra move speed from Hyper Sprint, it can be a massive, massive damage bonus to your run. And the rarity on Rush Delivery does matter and is often why people run God's Pride. Wmic got Epic Rush Delivery, which means 100% of his extra move speed turns into extra damage, whereas a common, the lowest rarity, would only be 50%. So his build is kind of fully set out. And in the same time, Big P did find a Mirage Shot and Epic Rush Delivery.
Rush Delivery back to back. That's the Big P difference.
I'm getting away with it.
Oh, no.
And you can kind of see these casts just deleting these Elysium runes. And you can kind of see how top players available like Big P like to kind of manipulate the enemy AI to group them together and make full use of Flood Flare's giant AoE, so you don't have to use as many casts to kill the same amount of enemies.
You also see Big P there opening up what's called a Well of Charon. These wells that pop up throughout the run give you these small little consumable just stuttered over my words a bit. Consumable boosts, that's a tongue twister to say it 5 times fast. And those consumables usually last for only a few chambers. However, some of them, especially on cast weapons, are really strong. The Braid of Atlas just increases your cast by flat 50% damage, which, given all of this additive damage already, it's a big number. Additionally, there are Stones of Prometheus, which give you an extra cast stone. And Big P is carrying the Keepsake, the Hourglass, which allows these to last much, much longer. About double the time, I believe.
A little bit over double, actually. Most Hourglass items last for 6 chambers. The Hourglass extends them by 8, which is quite a big extension.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to mention it since Big P kind of cleared them up so quickly, but he has just finished the Heroes Fight, and the Heroes Fight is honestly one of the reasons Beowulf is so popular and strong, because of the very powerful damage that you get, as well as the AoE. You can actually kill both heroes at the same time, which, as we mentioned earlier on Hera, can be very difficult for most weapons who lack that kind of AoE and damage. However, this is what we call Beowulf privilege. You can kind of just casually do heroes in under 10 seconds on most runs because of how strong the weapon is. And we got to see it right there.
It takes a lot of skill to select it on the weapon select screen, in my opinion.
He's right.
Truly one of the very important skill checks in this game, yeah.
Actually.
I do think that is that's my personal favorite thing about Hades, though. Is selecting Bayo. No,
You'll see.
It's exactly like beside like the manipulation of like damage numbers to like really make a build go off, there's no real like sequence breaks or anything. It's just how well and how fast can you play the game and make these split-second decisions. There's so much skill expression across
the
like
game, just a bit more.
Yeah, especially across like the some of the less optimal weapons. I'll say a lot of the skill expression really shows to like get get every single slight edge out of every weapon, and so it's always fascinating to watch.
You think I'll sub 5?
Oh my god,
I believe it.
Are you actually?
I'll
Wait, I have 429 in-game time entrance. Yeah.
Oh, that's possible. Oh no.
That'd be kind of. You think I'll sub 5?
So
For reference, the top number is the in-game time if you look at the timers on their screens, and the bottom number is the real time. In-game sub 5 has only been done by a few runners in Hades.
5 or 6 runners.
Yeah. So let's see if Big P can do it again.
Oh my god, is he actually going to?
He might.
That was slow. That was slow.
Also, hey, Wmic finally finished Heroes. Can we get a Let's Go Wmic in chat?
Yo, let's go, Wmic.
Yeah, let's go.
Yo, let's go, Wmic. Yo, let's go.
So Beowulf is the weapon that Big P has played the most. Big P, you have like over 1,000 hours in this specific weapon.
Yeah,
right?
probably like. Oh no, he's doing the thing.
He's done the thing.
He's spinning.
501.
Oh, 501.
11:22. That's insane.
Yeah.
Hey, don't you just slow down, not go
I
faster.
did, dude. I got Mirage in like C32, bro.
Okay, did on the Eris run go faster?
Big P has held world records for Beowulf in like pretty much almost every category there is for Beowulf at one point in his career. So this is just a showcase of exactly how much time he's put into the weapon and developing all the techs we have for it currently.
Mhm.
And as he's moving on to his last weapon, you might have seen him do a little bit of a rebinding, which kind of goes to show how different this last weapon is from our first two. So the last weapon we have in the race today is the railgun, the adamant rail, well-known Greek weapon, the gun. And this specific aspect is the Eris rail, where the railgun innately has kind of a lobbing special, which has kind of like an artillery bomb. And if Zagreus stands in that bomb explosion on Eris, he gets a 75% global damage boost to everything he does. Basically, an innate rush delivery just from the weapon itself. And the railgun is a little bit different in that there's no cast loading in the bullets or anything. It's not what we call a cast weapon like Hera and Bayo were. So in this weapon, you want to be reloading a lot, and that's why you might have seen him change the bind from cast and swap that with a reload before playing Eris and moving on to the run. A bit of a time loss in a real-time multi-weapon setting, but the comfort of the right keybinds can save that time like tenfold. And I actually do the same thing in my runs, but it's kind of a player preference if you want to rebind or not.
Wait,
Do we have time for another quick donation?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
go for it.
All right, thank you. We've got a $10 donation from the Hellfridge, who was actually running Frogun earlier today, with a comment saying, "Thank you so much for doing this marathon, and thank you so much for letting me be your opener. I had an absolute blast, and I hope so did you. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of your marathon." So thank you so much for your donation. This particular donation has gone towards the 80% out of bounds showcase incentive for Yakuza Island Express, which I would like to remind is right after this run. So time is running out for it. It requires in total $60, and so that's now $10 for it. So that's $50 remaining. Let's see if we can get it, guys. Thank you again for your donation, and keep enjoying the run.
That was such a fun run to watch too. All right, Wmic has finally finished up his second weapon and is moving on to his specialty, the Eris Rail, where we said previously that Big P's most focused weapon was Beowulf. Wmic probably has equal hours in this last weapon here.
If not more. Anyone remember those those demon Wmic grind streams?
Dude. I literally tell the story all the time, but like, yeah, I remember I would go to sleep to a Wmic stream, and then I would wake up and Wmic would be streaming and grinding Hades. And that's when I knew that. That's when I knew.
yeah.
Wmic is actually one of the fastest progressing runners in this game, getting a sub 6 minute time on Eris in like a month exactly.
Wmic and Mystic are tied for the fastest joining our Discord for speedrunning to sub 6ing with 1 month exactly between those 2 dates.
Exactly. And all of that month was entirely spent on Eris the Rail, the weapon we are seeing right now. So to give a little bit more context about Eris, the way you try to get a strong build on Eris is a little bit different than on Beowulf and Hera. On Beowulf and Hera, the focus is all in the cat. You want to get those chaos bonuses, those Braids of Atlas, those Prometheus Stones, all the bonuses that help your cast out, the Mirage Shot, for example, and just focus solely on that single point of your damage output. Eris is a little bit different. Since your innate bonus gives a bonus damage to everything you do, you kind of want to just grab as many sources of damage as possible, what we like to call flat damage soup. So we start with a lightning strike on the rail. The lightning is another source of damage. We try to get Poseidon's dash. The dash is a high base damage output that can deal a lot of damage with the extra bonus. And we try to get some boons on the special for extra damage, and just whatever you can pick up along the way. Just trying to get that 75% global damage to scale everything else that that Zagreus is outputting.
You love me some good flat damage soup. Nice and tasty.
Always a fun build to run.
Dude, I learned how to make kanji recently. So good.
Oh, hitting Eurydice into a fountain?
Into fountain? This is actually the classic. This is actually the classic.
The game has decided you're not playing. Also, yeah, Wmic, do not pay any attention. Just keep going.
You got this.
Don't listen.
I'm having a great old
Any
time.
Wmic appreciators in chat.
Always.
Absolutely. Big P, live and direct interview question from the commentator panel.
Yeah, what's up?
You took Aphrodite Aid and then
Yeah, so
sir, this is I hope Wmic somehow comes back and beats you for just that version.
It's good, I swear.
It could happen.
I swear it's good. It's good, I promise.
Just get the build, I suppose.
One of the ways the Olympian gods can help you in this run is by quite literally giving you their aid. Is that if they give you a specific boon, Zagreus can call on a specific Olympic god to kind of get a little bit more damage, get a little bit more effect of something in a run. And the one that Big P has right now, Aphrodite's Aid, is a little bit unconventional, to say the least.
Polite way of putting it.
Yeah, it's not unheard of. And you got Mirage Shot on Eris too. Okay, nice.
Dude, don't even, bro.
The Aphrodite's Aid, so the way the aid works is that you have a gauge to fill, and you can use it when it's like at 20 or 25%, depending on the call itself, or at a full 100%, which can take a while to build up. So Aphrodite's Aid does a massive amount of damage at that full call, but you don't really get to use that full call in most rooms. It's only really used in bosses, specifically the final boss, actually. The other fights are even too fast. So it's very powerful for kind of deleting an extra phase with the full call, but kind of not really useful in any other situation. But it appears Big P has taken the Aphrodite Aid in Tartarus, and that is exactly what it does. It just deletes an entire boss phase with the full charge.
Dude, it's actually so good.
It is pretty good. It is.
Yeah, I was reading the tooltip recently, and the number was just so big.
Big P, notorious reader of things in this game.
Oh yeah, definitely a enjoyer of words. Wait, I'm about to get the sauce.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we should talk about
I guess I can go over that now. So
yeah,
we've talked about hammers in this run. We talked about flurry shot on Hera, charge shot on Beowulf, and though hammer both runners have started with on Eris is the rocket bomb. It turns that lobbing special, which actually Wmic doesn't have the hammer yet, unfortunately. But it turns the lobbing special you can see on Wmic's screen to kind of an instantaneous rocket that fires out immediately, and we got the hammer. Okay. And it can be very useful because it has a higher base damage, and it's also much quicker. You get the damage out a lot quicker, and you also get the Eris buff a lot quicker. So you don't have to wait for a couple seconds for the special to land before even getting the buff. Now, the second hammer that Big P has picked up in Elysium is Cluster Bomb, and the two together are a well-known combination called Cluster Rockets. Cluster Bomb lets you shoot 5 of your specials in a kind of a wide array, but each special does reduce 30% damage. Excuse me. However, Rocket Bomb provides a base damage override of the initial special, and that override actually overrides the Cluster Bomb reduction. So Cluster Bomb, or Cluster Rocket, this combo specifically, has all 5 rockets at full power. You just have 5 rockets shooting instantly from your gun, just deleting the entire room or entire boss faces. It is probably the single strongest hammer combination in this video game.
Another very fun little trivia fact about Clockets being another like weird little like interaction. If I remember correctly, I believe the angle that the spread for it is was supposed to be written in degrees, but is instead written in radians. But it somehow still just like wraps around perfectly. So hey, we take it. That's game development for you.
It feels nice to play. That's all that really matters.
Exactly.
It looks like we have almost a 1 biome difference with Big P entering the end of Elysium, picking up his first Hermes at Chamber 33, just quite late. As we mentioned, you can get your first Hermes in Tartarus, but he's gotten his first one in this late of Elysium. As Wmic is entering Elysium, about to get his cluster rockets right now in this first Chamber of Elysium.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, go for it.
We do.
All right, thank you. We've got a $20 donation from Kalobi, with a comment saying, "Always happy to see a Hades race," and it is a great one. And that those $20 are going towards the 80% out of band showcase for the upcoming Yakuza Island Express run, which is also going to be a great one as well. So that means we're currently sitting at $30 out of 60, so we're halfway through. It's coming up really soon, so if you want to snipe it, now is the right moment to do so. But we're getting there, guys. We're getting close to it. We can reach it. So thank you for your donation, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, thank you so much, Clovi. Oh, Wmic also finds Mirage Shot? Let's go.
There you go.
Eris really is a Caspect.
Yeah.
Wmic's also, all that Hades time put into Eris is paying off. Wmic's kind of closing down the lead here.
He is starting
Unfortunately,
to catch up.
it might be a little bit too late. Hades is, of course, a very swingy game, and but entering into these final biomes here is where leads tend to solidify a bit. Unless Big P, do you want to take like a third tunnel just to like keep things spicy?
You know what? I could accidentally do it. But the thing is that like you can never count Wmic out. He's really good at the game. I mean, especially on this weapon. Like watching him play is a treat. He's so clean with it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
appears
the practice race we did before this, just to like get all the nerves out and like get everything, like make sure everything is working properly. I think it was only like what, a 30-second difference between the two.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like really close.
It appears that Wmic has kind of shortened the lead from a full biome. Kind of Big P is entering Heroes as Wmic is entering Elysium to about a half biome, of like 1 Styx tunnel behind, which is kind of impressive, which kind of goes to show exactly.
Just deleted the Minotaur with that clock and splash.
Yeah, you can see. One of the main parts about using cluster rockets on Eris on bosses is finding the right positioning to shotgun all 5 of your rockets into the boss phase, which can be difficult as the bosses are moving around, you're trying to dodge damage, not get stun locked, a lot of things are going on, but with enough experience, you can kind of just shotgun all the cluster rockets in each boss phase pretty consistently, and just, as you saw, deletes the entire boss completely.
And here we have it. Big P is entering the final boss of the third leg of the race and is up against Hades once again. Haven't we been here before?
This is my first time. What happens after this? I don't know.
As we mentioned earlier, you're going to see Big P trying to land up, get as close to dad as we call him as possible, just hugging his dad, getting all of the rockets in him as possible. And we have a full Aphrodite Aid charged up already, so phase 2 is going to be very
With the
fast.
summon as well, yeah. Blink in, you'll miss it.
And that was, oh my god.
there's the first part down. And that is time.
GG's Big P.
GG's.
GG's?
GG's.
What was the time?
12:43.
On the
Yeah.
third run, yeah.
On the third weapon, yeah.
GG's.
Sub 13 Eris, very nice. With Mirage Shot.
With Mirage Shot.
Just for fun.
That's quarter of the
As
build,
Big
actually.
P finishing up, as Big P finished up Hades, Wmic is about to enter the dad fight, the final leg of the race.
Wmic's in-game time is pretty nice on this, actually.
Oh yeah.
510?
Oh wait, 510 is kind of saucy.
Yeah, we'll get another sub 6 going. Let's run it up.
This fight's actually going to be a clinic. Like, if you want to see how Eris is played, this is it.
You're making me set up for this.
No pressure.
That's what I'm talking about. You guys see that? That was crispy.
Yeah. Also, yeah, this is actually a really impressive comeback, going from that far to just dad fight behind.
One dad fight behind.
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
That's like 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds-ish.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And as we were talking about earlier, what is one of the biggest
Gamer lean
ways
forward.
of one of the biggest ways like kind of experienced Eris players distinguish themselves in the dad fight is exactly how cleanly they can shotgun the cluster rockets in him. And you can kind of see almost every single salvo Wmic is putting out is perfectly shotgun. You can
Nice,
barely see a
GG's.
rocket escape.
That's official time.
GG's.
Jeez.
Nice run, Wmic. That was wild.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, amazing run, the both of y'all. That was an absolute treat to watch.
Damn, you really brought it back. You're like really close.
That was
Yeah,
way
that was
closer.
really close. That was
I
scary.
was like, well, I'm sure.
Wait, what's the final time on that? What was the RTA?
39:37 for Wmic and 38:17 for Big P.
38-17.
Jeez.
Damn, GG's. Yeah.
Good run, both of you. That was really nice to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wmic, how did the first run feel there? Felt like it was a tiny bit
No, it was. I mean, I was having fun the whole time. I'm just glad to be here. Honestly, showcase this game. It's a wonderful game, and
For sure, for sure.
yeah, race against my countryman.
Continue.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Big P, you promised, you delivered. You absolutely.
No, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Bro, that's what I'm talking about. No, honestly, I've been practicing for the past couple weeks, with help from Krovin and Wmic. Actually, Wmic was literally coaching me before we started on some Eris stuff. So I think if anything I can say about the Hades community is that if you're interested in running, there's always someone out there who's down to help you out, right? And no matter what weapon you play to, like I promise you want to play some weapon, someone will help you, and this is the community to do it in. So
If you like fists, want to play fists, come ask me, GhostyBoy97. We need more of us, please. The community's down.
Can I actually sign up for your courses? Yeah, is that...
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
coach you.
I got it.
Academy.
Cool. Well, I think that's all for us. Pika,
Yeah.
anything?
Any
new?
extra shoutouts from you, Wmic?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, shout out to Big P. Honestly, he put this all together and helped me, set up the event and everything. And honestly, just being here to race me, it's been such a fun experience.
The goat diff.
Shout out to Big
Hell
P the
yeah.
goat.
All right. To conclude on that, we've got even more great news because we got just at the end we got a $50 donation from DRK with a comment saying, "Good luck on the race, my Canadian brothers. Love you guys." And so, with that donation, the Any Percent Out of Bounds Showcase for Yokozuna Express has been completed. So, thank you very much for your donation. It's going to be hype. And the remaining $20 have gone towards the special warm area incentive, which is for the Spelunky series later tonight, meaning we're currently sitting at $60 out of 80. So we're quite close to that as well. And also as a little bonus, that means we're basically over $200 raised for Little Warriors so far in these first opening hours of the marathon. So congratulations on that. With that said, thank you for your donation. And if that's everything from everyone, I will say thank you for this showcase. Hope everyone enjoyed it. And we'll be right back after a short intermission with Yakuza Express. See you.
See ya.